Morning.
Morning.
Morning. So, like Ruth said, I am the leader of our Pathfinder club in Bentonville. And I just want to tell you about what we've been doing the past few months. Our Pathfinder club in Bentonville has a long history of being mission-minded. That goes back to the core values of Pathfindering and teaching kids to do outreach and service projects. And in our club, that looks like we have a monthly service night that we do, rain or shine, regularly. We also look for special opportunities for service projects. 2 years ago, we decided to go on a mission trip, and we ended up going for a week to Kinlachee, Arizona, and we worked with the Navajo Nation there. We wanted to teach our kids that mission work doesn't necessarily always have to be overseas, that it can be done right here in America too. And we came back from that week in Arizona. The kids were fired up. We had seen God work there in miraculous ways. We had been with God that week, and our kids were ready to do something more. So we started thinking about what we were going to do next year for our mission trip, and we were looking for opportunities and praying about where God wanted us to go. I'm sure many of you know that there's a small town nearby just past Gravette called Sulphur Springs, and they have an Adventist church there. Some people are surprised to know that, but there is one there. It's small. Sulphur Springs used to be a thriving small church. They had a Pathfinder club there. Their congregation was large enough that they needed to build onto their facility 3 Sabbath school classrooms and a fellowship hall. They were very active in the community. The community knew about Sulphur Springs Church. Since then has changed. The congregation has dwindled down to the faithful few. There's, 5 or 6 families there that some have been there for years and lots of years. Betty and Tony Miosi are a family that's been there a long time. We've been working with them. They don't have a Pathfinder club anymore, and those 3 Sabbath school classrooms they built on, just one is being used currently. And they have about 3 to 5 kids on Sabbath morning for Sabbath school. Our church in Bentonville has been trying to reach out and help our sister church in Sulphur Springs by sending an elder once a month to speak over there. And one day after Bentonville Church at potluck, we were talking to one of the elders that had just come back from speaking in Sulphur Springs, and we were talking about, man, how can we just sit here and let our sister church die or fall apart just down the road? What can we do to help? And his response was, well, we need to pray for an outpouring of the Holy Spirit. I said, yes, we do. That's true. I said, but what can we do? What can I do with my hands to help them? And he said, well, the way I look at it is the Sulphur Springs Church needs a niche, something that they can become well known for in the community. They had been trying to do that. They had tried to do a stop smoking class, and there wasn't a lot of interest in that, which you would think there would be over there. They had tried to do some evangelistic series, and that was not terribly successful either. And then for a couple years, some people you may know, Janie and Hefton Young, have been going to Sulphur Springs, and they had been instrumental in getting a VBS program started, and that had been successful, and they had had VBS there for a couple years and had pretty good turnout of kids. And so in talking with our elder, we thought, well, what if we could help them make children's ministry their niche? Because there's such a need as far as children are concerned in Sulphur Springs. We started thinking and planning about how we could do that and how Pathfinders could get involved. And the plan we came up with was to go to Sulphur Springs for a week last summer. And we lived there and worked there for a week, doing a vacation Bible school program, doing church work projects in the church, and also doing some extensive projects in the town park. Our goals were to help them become more visible in the community again, kind of to create some curiosity about hey, who are those people and what are they doing over there? And also to help them become well known in the community for children's ministry. If you need something for your kids, if you need a place for your kids to go, then haul them down there to the Sulphur Springs Church and they'll help you, because I know they're a place where kids can go and get help. So we decided to turn this project into a one-year commitment where we started with a kickoff week in June where we did all this work and projects, and then to continue to go back twice a month for a year. The second
you did in the park.
The second and fourth, yes.
Okay.
The second and fourth Sabbath, we go there every month on Sabbath afternoon and hold a free Kids Day program. Ever since we started this, we've been seeing the Lord work. The first thing was, He just continues to provide for our needs. We wanted to live there in Sulphur Springs for the week, just so we didn't have to travel so much, and so we could kind of have a bonding experience with our own group as well. And of course, there's no hotels in Sulphur Springs. And so we started looking at Airbnb for a place big enough to hold 25 of us. And we found a place, and it was available, and the lady even offered us a 50% discount for her house, but it was still going to be about $3,000 for us to stay there for the week. And literally the day we were going to reserve and book that accommodation, a family in the church came forward, of the Sulphur Springs church, and said, "Hey, just about 10 minutes down the road, we have a vacant house, and y'all can live there for the week if you want to for free." We were like, "Yes, thank you so much." And it turned out to be such a blessing. It was perfect, beautiful place for us to stay where we didn't have to travel, and we got to stay there for free, and free is good. We also had a lot of labor donated. Electrical work and carpentry needed to be done in the church, and we got that labor donated. Supplies like lumber and food. We had about 20 kids that first week at VBS, consistently all week long. We started about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which is some fun activities. We served a full meal and then had like the traditional VBS program in the evening. And yes, we did do some work in the park. And it was interesting to see, that week we were all wearing these shirts. They're lime green on purpose to try and catch attention. They say Sulphur Springs Church. And we were all wearing these, and it was interesting that as we were working throughout the week, that townspeople just started showing up. And a man would show up with his leaf blower and work with us for a couple hours. And then another man would show up with a lawnmower and a trailer and help us haul mulch and sand for a couple hours. And other people would just literally pull off on the side of the road and be like, "Hey, who are you guys and what are you doing?" So it was a great opportunity to kind of create curiosity and buzz for the Sulphur Springs Church. One of the biggest projects we did in the park was, they have a historic gazebo there that's been there literally for like 100 years, I don't know. My mother grew up in Sulphur Springs and she remembers playing on it as a kid. But it was in dire need of help, so we pretty much completely reconstructed that and repainted it. And it's kind of a landmark for Sulphur Springs. We did some other projects with volleyball courts and horseshoe pits and the playground and landscaping and painting buildings and all kinds of things. And just to stop and clarify, that VBS program that we were running all week was not by the adults. It was completely 100% run by our kids. And we have kids aged 10 to 17. We actually had a 9-year-old at the time that they were completely running this program. We trained them, we practiced, they did all the Bible stories, all the singing, taught all the crafts, prepared for all the games. They did it all. And they continue to do it all when we go back on the second and fourth Sabbath. We jokingly say, which is kind of true, that we literally just drive them over there and then sit in the back while they run the program every week or every 2 weeks. It's been a unique opportunity to kind of understand and feel what long-term mission work is like. And sometimes I don't think we get that opportunity because a lot of people associate long-term mission work with going overseas somewhere and living, somewhere for several years. And I think we've been able to feel what that feels like and teach our kids what that feels like to do long-term mission work without having to go overseas. And it gets tiring sometimes, and it's not always glamorous, and it's not always fun, but we go and do whatever the Lord asks us to do, and that's been a unique opportunity to teach our kids that. Watching our kids grow during this process has been probably one of the most rewarding things for me. They have blossomed in ways that I can never imagine. Even our 10-year-olds are getting up front and public speaking and communicating and planning activities and games, and learning how to teach somebody else to do something, learning how to manage behavior. The kids that we have come to Kids Day are not church kids, and they haven't been raised in the church, and they don't know what the expected behavior is for a sanctuary or during an activity. So watching our kids teach those kids the proper behavior and how we act in a sanctuary in a church, and just managing them and them getting that experience has been priceless. Our kids are trained missionaries now. And, that reminds me of the quote in Ellen White, which I will quote paraphrase widely, is something about an army of youth well trained will bring about the end time. And I like to think that we're helping strengthen that army. On our second of 4 Sabbaths, when we go over there, the first time we went, it was kind of different, because when we left Arizona, we had made a big splash and done all this work, and we loved everybody, and we left, with part of our heart in Arizona. But that was the end. Like, we weren't going back. Some of those people we'll probably never see again until heaven. But with this, we were like, when that first week is over, we were like, see you in 2 weeks, and then we'll be back. And so it was a unique opportunity to build relationships with these kids. And so that first week we went back, we had 3 kids that week. And one of my favorite memories is we parked the car, and we were getting out and walking up to the church, and the front door flew open, banged against the wall, and out comes running this little girl named Sunshine, who is just like her name, with no shoes on. She passed most all of us and went straight for one of our boys who's about 14. His name is Marcus, who had made a special connection with her. She threw her arms around him and said, "What took you so long? I've been waiting for you." And then clung to him the rest of the time. And I knew then okay, this is going to work, that we can make these relationships with the kids. We made the commitment to Sulphur Springs, whether we had 3 kids or 10 kids or no kids. We were going to go the second or 4th Sabbath. And if we had no kids, we were committed just to having a time of prayer for the town of Sulphur Springs and the church, if that's what the Lord wanted us to do. If we had 1 kid, we were going to run our program for that 1 kid. And we just kept praying for the Lord to send whatever kids He wanted us to have there. Since then, we've been steadily growing. And as of now, we have about 5 kids who are regulars. They come every single week. And then we have 8 kids who are semi-regular. They come probably once a month or so. And then we always have walk-ins of just random people that either will be playing outside and kids will ride by on their bike and just stop and spend the rest of the time with us, or so forth. So about 4 weeks, well, maybe 6 weeks now, ago, I got a text message from Betty Miosi, who we work with there, on Sabbath morning, and she said, her text message was, there are 18 kids in Sabbath school.
Amen.
And normally they have 3 to 5. All 18 of those kids stayed for church that day, which meant there were more kids in the sanctuary Sabbath morning than there were adults. So many people stayed for church that day that they ran out of food at potluck. It was quite the day at Sulphur Springs. The poverty in Sulphur Springs is a real issue, more than I realized. And it's been interesting watching our kids realize what poverty looks like. We have kids that come to us on Kids Day and that are in foster care. We have a girl who comes to us that's currently in court because she was abused. We have kids who live with grandma because mom and dad are in jail. We have kids that come to us hungry. Just a couple of weeks ago, a little boy walked in the front door, and the first thing he said to one of our Pathfinders was, "Do you have anything to eat? I haven't eaten since the day before yesterday, I think." The hunger is a real issue. We have a family of 3 who, I don't know, you may have seen in the news, there was a house that burned to the ground in Sulphur Springs maybe 6 weeks ago. And it was a family that with 3 kids that had been coming to Kids Day. And we found out that they had no running water in their house for 6 weeks. And they had been coming to us at Kids Day while they had no running water in their house. So we implemented a few programs to kind of help with this. We have a snack pack program every single week, twice a month. We send home a bag of food with every kid who comes. And it's stuff that's easy to fix, that kids can fix themselves, because some of them just don't, their families aren't even at home to cook food for them. we're always looking for donations of food items like granola bars and macaroni and cheese and cans of ravioli and biscuits and things like that to give out in our snack packs. Our AY organization at our Bentonville church helped us get school supplies for kids when school started, so everybody got a backpack of supplies. And since then, our Pathfinders have started coming up with the ideas themselves about what they want to do for the kids at Sulphur Springs. One kid decided he wanted to give Bibles to every kid who came to Kids Day. He organized a collection drive for Bibles, and we now have plenty of Bibles to give every single kid who comes a Bible for a long time. And we've been doing that. One of our other kids came up with the idea they wanted to give Christmas boxes to every kid that came, and they organized that, and in December we gave a Christmas box to every kid that came at Kids Day. One of our Pathfinders overheard one of the little girls say, "When I grow up, I want to be a Pathfinder." And because of that statement, they came up with the idea they wanted to order the green shirts so that every kid who came to Kids Day could have a green shirt and look like we looked. And so we've since done that. And so now we have green Sulphur Springs shirts going out into the community. We're hoping they wear them to school too. Another thing we did was a coat drive, which was a rather miraculous story, which I'm going to not tell you right now because I'm going to tell it to you during the children's story in church today. So I hope you stay for the service and listen to the children's story today.
Yes.
We always serve a snack at Kids Day, and sometimes we do a full meal even, just because the kids come to us hungry. I just want to end today by telling you that the town of Sulphur Springs is in desperate need of help. The poverty there and the drug abuse is a real thing, and I think by helping the Sulphur Springs Church revitalize their community, we can help reach out to the community of Sulphur Springs. Our club has been specifically praying that the Lord would send a family to Sulphur Springs that could more directly help with the Kids Day and help with the children's ministry there. Right now there is a core group of families there that's keeping the church together. Not a lot of them are where they're able to help as much with the children's outreach, and so we just really have been praying for the Lord to send a family. I'm just trying to raise awareness for what's going on in Sulphur Springs, and I invite you to add your prayers to ours that the Lord will send a family to Sulphur Springs to help with the children's ministry. One way we've been advertising our Kids Day is on Facebook and Instagram, and I would invite you to get on Facebook or Instagram, whatever you use, and follow us on Sulphur Springs Kids Day. And I have a couple flyers to pass around. You could snap a picture of it with your phone or just pop it out and like it right now. So I'll pass it around in just a second, and you can look up those social media avenues. You can see pictures of the kids that are there and the activities that we do with them, and kind of follow the story of Sulphur Springs there. Does anybody have any questions about anything that I said?
Did you know that you've got a radio station?
Yes, and actually we have been utilizing that. About 2 months ago, we had the kids record, we had the kids that are coming to Kids Day and some of our kids record a radio announcement about Kids Day, inviting people to come, and that's been running at the top of the hour on that radio station for maybe 6 or 8 weeks now. And we also have, our Pathfinder Club is a Project Prevent chapter, which Project Prevent has to do with tobacco prevention. It's a statewide initiative. And that's another thing we're doing in Sulphur Springs, is trying to train the kids that come about tobacco prevention, catch it young. And there's some funds available through that Project Prevent for us to run additional radio ads and have them done professionally and run that on that radio station. And we'll be rolling that out in the spring.
I don't have a question, but I am just amazed and thrilled beyond words at your report and what you're doing. It is just, it's just awesome. Just praise the Lord.
It really blows us away too. We thought, when we first started this project, we thought, at the end of the year, if we have 5 kids that are coming regularly, then that'll be success. But our measures of success are not God's. And He has blessed us in 4 months from starting to that day that we had 18 kids in church was 4 months. And it just blew us away in 4 months how much progress had been made and how the Lord was just sending the kids that needed to be there. So he really does blow us away too.
Do you want to mention what the conference president is doing for us as well?
Sure. So it happened that about maybe a month ago, the conference president was visiting Bentonville, and it happened to be the day that I was giving a report to Bentonville Church about what was going on at Sulphur Springs. And so we were able to talk to him about that a little bit, and the conference has now agreed to kick in some evangelism funds to help further the children's ministry in Sulphur Springs. And so that has kind of led us to, we originally had a 1-year plan, now we're on a 3-year plan with Sulphur Springs. And we use this analogy. The first year, we're kind of getting the ball rolling. Next year, we're going to try and roll the ball together with Sulphur Springs. And then the third year, we're going to try and let them roll the ball with our help. And so our plans for next year is to use some of that evangelism money coming from the conference and start an official adventurer program in the Sulphur Springs Church with the kids that have been coming to Kids Day. So that's what we're looking towards next year.
Amen.
Any other questions? Awesome. Well, thank you guys for your time. I appreciate you listening. And I'm going to pass around these social media pages so you can look at the title and see what to like on.
You can see.